everyone. Jessica Jones is finally coming back.
2.5 years later.
No big deal. Hey, I'm Leanne Aguilera.
I'm Crossan.
And we are here to catch you up on everything that you probably forgot from season 1 of Jessica Jones.
It has been 2.5 years. Plus, we're going to be previewing season 2 and giving you our predictions because we have quite a few.
Yes, definitely. We're also going to be breaking down our double shots and hangovers of season 1, so you don't want to miss that. So before you descend into that deep, dark Netflix binge, let's talk about our favorite Marvel superhero, Jessica Jones. Let's kick things off with the obvious, Ash.
Who is Jessica Jones?
Who is she?
She is a private investigator. She runs Alias Investigations.
Owns her own company. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but besides, being a businesswoman, she's more than that. She's gifted.
She is gifted. She has superhuman strength,
Enhanced speed.
enhanced durability, and to kick it all off,
She can kind of fly.
she can kind of fly. Okay, it's more like jumping at long distances. She doesn't always stick the landing, but it's pretty impressive.
And sometimes they fly and they're just like, oh, she's flying, and we don't see it.
Yeah.
But it's cool. I like it.
I like it too. It kind of still keeps you grounded in the world. But basically, when we meet Jessica Jones in season 1, she's dealing with a little bit of PTSD. She's
Yes.
been through a lot, and we'll be getting into that in just a little bit.
And she copes with that with a lot of alcohol.
Cheers.
That's Jessica Jones.
This is apple juice.
Sorry.
But let's talk a little bit about how she got her abilities, because this was a little bit of a mystery in season 1. We were able to piece together that Jessica was involved in a car crash when she was a teenager while she was on a family road trip.
Right, and we don't exactly know how she got her actual abilities. And a little fun fact is, in the comics, they get into a car accident with this chemical truck. And
Yes,
the
like a
chemicals-
military chemical
yeah,
truck.
Yeah, and the chemicals then give her superpowers. But it's alluding to in the show that she gets her powers via experiments from this IGH lab, which we don't fully know a lot about yet, and they're going to explore a lot of that in season 2, I
Yeah.
believe. But it's still kind of coming together exactly how she got her powers, but we know it's kind of based in this accident.
Definitely. And it's actually really traumatic because although she does have these superhuman abilities, it came at the cost of losing her entire family.
Yes.
All right, now that we've talked a little bit about how Jessica got her powers, let's talk about the people in her world. There were a lot of characters that we met in season 1 of Jessica Jones, so we're breaking it down into the 6 you need to remember before tuning in to season 2. First up is,
My
of course,
favorite/least favorite.
yes,
Killgrave.
Killgrave. Oh man, David Tennant was the best villain. Tell us about Killgrave.
Oh my gosh, so he is the most terrifying villain that I've ever seen. He has these mind control abilities where he can get people to do pretty much whatever he wants, but the scariest part is he, can control Jessica, and it's terrifying for her.
He held her captive for several months. He basically forced her to have sex with him.
Yes.
The entire time that they were together. He claims that they were in love, but that was not it at all. It was completely against her will.
No, it's such a kind of triggering abusive relationship
Yeah.
that unfolds, and I believe it's around episode 7 where she says, "You raped me," and it's very terrifying, and it's rooted in this real thing that's I kind of think that is going on right now in this
Yeah.
conversation that's going on. So it was a really triggering thing to watch, but it was very scary and real.
It was definitely, I think, the most haunting aspect of this show.
Absolutely.
Was the fact that someone could control your mind, force you to do whatever they wanted to.
Right,
And you had no ability to say no.
And she thinks she's escaped from him. She thinks he's dead, and then he kind of comes around and starts picking off these people around her and infiltrating himself back into her life.
And then she meets Luke Cage. Oh my God. Jessica Jones and Luke Cage, the love story of our time, ladies and gentlemen.
They are endgame.
They are endgame, in my opinion. So, Luke Cage, this was actually our first introduction to this fellow defender of Jessica. They eventually joined forces together to save New York City. But here's what we learned about Luke Cage in season 1, that he too has superhuman strength and unbreakable skin. It also led to some pretty intense sex scenes.
Yes, it did.
Gotta love this show. But it was really interesting to see the dynamic between Jessica Jones and Luke Cage, because they had a hidden connection that we discovered. Luke Cage's wife, Reva Connors, was murdered. He thought that it was by a random bus accident, but in reality, Jessica Jones murdered Reva.
Take care of her.
She eventually told him this shocking revelation, and Killgrave then took advantage of the fact that Luke Cage was upset with Jessica, controlled his mind, and eventually we saw this epic showdown between Luke Cage and Jessica Jones, both of their powers in full strength, and it only ended when Jessica shot him point blank in the face with a shotgun.
Right, and because he has impenetrable skin, it didn't actually
hurt him.
But it did internally.
Yes.
He had this like blunt force trauma effects, but he wasn't actually shot.
And of course, we have to talk about Trish Walker, Jessica Jones's BFF.
You're Trish.
And you're Jess.
Yeah.
Oh, it's Patsy.
We're fan casting ourselves.
But so Trish Walker, of course, is a former model and child star, known best for playing Patsy on the hit TV show. Trish actually had a really tumultuous relationship with her mother, Dorothy. She was extremely abusive, and that led Trish to becoming addicted to pretty much anything and everything. Her mom essentially just pulled a PR stunt and adopted Jessica Jones.
Yes, that does happen. That absolutely happens. She's like, this will be good for us.
This will be good for us. Let's adopt your random schoolmate.
I do not like her. I mean, we're not supposed to, but I really just don't like her.
I really cannot stand Dorothy. But the great thing about it was that although it was a bizarre situation as to how Jessica and Trish came into each other's lives, they eventually grew to love each other.
Yes.
And Trish is really the only person in Jessica's life that she would do anything for.
And then Trish kind of becomes a sidekick for Jessica throughout the season, maybe a little more beside her. I think Trish is a lot more powerful than just a sidekick, you know what I mean? But they have been really alluding to the fact that they are really going to team up in season 2, and I cannot wait for that.
Jerry Hogarth, one of the more polarizing characters of season 1. You know, she's a top-notch lawyer in New York City, and she often recruited Jessica as a private investigator for her firm to help out with her cases. Hogarth ended up becoming really instrumental in season 1.
Yeah.
But
she's getting a divorce.
she was getting a divorce. She had an affair. It seemed like there was a lot of...
She would do anything to get this divorce. Anything.
Anything. But
so she can be with her.
She was really instrumental in season 1 because she was representing this woman named Hope, who, under Killgrave's mind controlled, murdered her 2 parents. And Jessica was really determined to get Hope cleared of this murder, but how on earth do you justify that somebody told you to murder your parents?
Yeah, you can't just go around throwing out mind control and everyone being like, sure.
Okay, yeah, that's totally believable. No.
That sounds like bad lawyering.
But so Hogarth was important in season 1. We're still not the biggest fans of her, but she will be returning for season 2.
She just made a lot of bad decisions based on her own emotions and wasn't caring about anybody else and got a lot of people in a lot of pain and killed and stuff.
Essentially, Ash and I are Team Wendy.
I really was Team Wendy.
And of course, we've got to talk about Malcolm.
I loved Malcolm. He went through such an arc throughout. That's like, he started off as, you know, this drug-addicted kind of junkie neighbor, and then he turned into a villain where he's taking pictures of Jessica working under Killgrave, and then he gets clean and kind of becomes her
social worker friend with a conscience.
I loved him.
Yeah.
Except whenever he was with Robin, because I don't even want to talk about Robin. We're going to skip right over Robin. She drove me nuts, but...
For all the fans who forgot about Robin like I did, she was the redhead neighbor who had the twin brother who was always up in everyone's business.
I just didn't.
No. Bye, Robin.
Next.
Bye. Oh, God. Speaking of someone that we did not like, Will Simpson.
Oh, my God.
All right, guys. As you'll remember, Will Simpson was the police officer who was ordered by Killgrave to attack and kill Trish.
Yes.
He failed.
Yes.
And then, somehow, Trish and Will started...
They bonded. They had this moment where they're talking through a door, and then they're like, you know what? We should having sex with each other.
Yes.
And so they start hooking up. And then I'm into it for like a minute.
Yes. But then he inserted himself. He found out about Killgrave, and he had this personal vendetta. Like, how dare someone control my mind? I'm going to kill him.
Yes.
He did not think that Jessica was doing enough. And so he took matters into his own hand, went back to this old military program that he was a part of, which Ash can speak to the marvel of it all.
Yes, so he is based off this comic book super villain guy named Nuke, who basically was like this Soviet war vet who took these 3 pills, red, white, and blue. And the red one amped you up and the blue one calmed you down. And
white evened you out.
Yes, and so it was like kind of a version of this.
But because Will just kept popping the red ones,
yes,
and turned into this intense man. I just did not get what his point was, but I guess it was to create roadblocks for Jess from getting Killgrave.
It could have been possibly, you know, it could be possibly setting up something for season 2 of him being the big bad or whatever, but I think you either go full Nuke, or you get rid of him.
Yep. I completely
Because he's
agree.
right in the middle right now, and it's not working.
Yeah, give us the red pill or the blue pill. We don't want the white pill.
Exactly.
We've pretty much recapped all of season 1 through these character descriptions, but let's just give you the nitty-gritty of it all. So, if we were to talk about season 1 in a nutshell, in a whiskey glass.
We start off. Jessica suffering from PTSD from everything that Killgrave did to her because he's a monster.
Killgrave made her kill Reva Connors.
Yes.
And then because of that murder, it broke the spell that Killgrave had over Jessica. She walked away from him after he yelled, "Get back here, Jessica!" And then he...
Very good.
Thank you. And then he got hit by a bus. So Jessica thought he was dead. Did she bother to go back and check? No, she just wanted to get the hell out of there.
In Marvel, you always check.
You always check.
If they're not decapitated and burned, they're still alive.
They're still alive. So of course...
The Game of Thrones rule.
So Killgrave comes back, and he is even more obsessed with getting Jessica to love him.
Yes, he buys her childhood home.
He completely recreates her bedroom. It's really
makes
creepy.
her send him selfies.
Yes, but what Jessica doesn't realize is that Killgrave knows that he can no longer control Jessica Jones. It took her a little bit longer to figure it out. She's got a lot on her mind. Yeah, she's got a lot on her mind. But eventually, through a lot of back and forth, Killgrave's parents came back into the play. They eventually got murdered. It was very dramatic. Jessica cornered Killgrave, and it came down to this final showdown.
Yes.
On the docks.
Yes, where they have this kind of bad plan that ends up working out.
Yes.
Because that's what happens sometimes. But they send in Trish, disguised as Jessica, listening to loud music so that Killgrave can't shout any commands at her. Mm-hmm. And then he's like, do it. Do it.
Oh, come on, it's Patsy!
It's Patsy!
It's Patsy!
And so he realizes it, and then Jessica Jones is like really far away from him, so I don't know what the plan was exactly. And then she just kind of flies over, and then they start fighting, and then he's like, I'm gonna take Trish and be with her.
So he basically threatens the one thing that Jessica actually cares about in life.
That's our girl Trish.
And that's our girl Trish. And then when it really comes down to it, Jessica reveals that Killgrave still does not have the mind control abilities, and she snaps his neck.
That's such a good moment. This is like Snoke throne room stuff where she's like, I love you. Talking to Trish, snaps his neck.
Smile.
Bye.
That was pretty much the end of season 1, except for, of course, the legalese of it all. They tried to book Jessica for Killgrave's murder, but Hogarth conveniently got her off. See, she was important after all.
Yeah, I think she's like fine. I didn't like her decisions.
She's a good friend to have in your corner.
Jessica did not have a choice. She was compelled against her will.
And there we go. That was the traumatic season 1.
Let's go into the double shots
Yes.
and hangovers because I'm really excited about this.
All right, guys, our double shots and hangovers. So basically, a double shot are the things that we loved, we want more of. We would just
More
drink them all
shots.
night. And our hangovers, they're self-explanatory.
You don't want one.
I don't want one. My double shots of season 1 was learning more and more about Jessica's past and really piecing this together. I loved the way that they structured this season. We kind of were dropped into her world, and through a series of flashbacks and way flashbacks, we got to know this character. Mm-hmm. We got little pieces, and it was up to the audience to put them together to figure out how she got her powers, what happened with her in Killgrave, and I felt like an investigator myself, so I found that really fun.
Oh, that's so cute. I also like in season 2, they're alluding to we're going to keep going back to this accent, so it's still unfolding. Mm-hmm. Mine is definitely going to be Killgrave. I think he is one of the best, if not the best, villain in Marvel on screen in terms of the movies and the TV shows, because for the most part, in the Marvel Universe, as much as I love it, you have these villains that just want to dominate the world, and they just want the Avengers and the Defenders and the whatevers dead for whatever reason, just to dominate everything. Ultimate power!
Giant chaotic situations.
I hurt myself saying that. But what Killgrave wants is such on a smaller scale, and that's why villains like Killmonger and Vulture and Killgrave work, is because they're on the smaller scale, real thing that is very creepy and real and triggering, and that is what Killgrave is, and he just wants to be with Jessica. He's just obsessed.
That's the terrifying thing of it all, is he's not creating enough waves for it to cause a nationwide panic so that everyone knows about it.
No.
What he does is very selfish and very sadistic.
I also think he has some of the creepiest moments I've ever seen. When he's, in the cafe and yells, "Everybody be quiet," or when Jessica walks out in the police precinct and everyone's holding, it's so scary.
Yeah.
In 30 seconds, you'll all realize this was a hilarious joke and you'll let Jessica Jones leave.
As far as hangovers, the moments that we really did not want to see, I gotta say, Will, Simpson, dude, your entire storyline really bothered me. But I just found his entire military, creepy background just unnecessary. I understand that it was to give us answers as to Jessica's IGH link, but I just felt like there was another way to go about it.
I feel like they were trying to bring in the character of Nuke, but they were trying to make him like a little too rooted in reality.
Yeah.
Where they're like, well, he needs to be like a police officer for. I don't know. It didn't work for me. It didn't land for me either. Mine is definitely going to be like Hogarth's divorce. And I kind of mentioned all of this earlier. Like, I don't mind that you're going through a divorce. Like, go through your thing. I just felt like it was used to like just to make the worst decisions, and she got a lot of people killed. And she drove me nuts.
The one good thing about the Hogarth divorce, though, was the 1,000 cuts.
Oh, that was a horror movie.
Killgrave ordered Wendy to kill her ex by death of 1,000 cuts. That was so creepy and so terrifying and shot brilliantly.
There are moments in this show that are scarier than any slasher film I've ever seen.
As we enter season 2, this is going to be fresh off of The Defenders. And for those of you, because I know a lot of fans who came into Jessica Jones didn't necessarily end up watching Luke Cage or Daredevil or Iron Fist or Defenders. Truthfully, I do not blame you. It was a long journey, and I would not say that The Defenders necessarily was a good payoff for the Jessica Jones fans. She was the best part of it, but there was no character development for her.
Right.
So, if you're worried, you don't have to have watched The Defenders. Just know that it takes place after that, and they save the city. Woohoo! Season 2.
Oh, so they've teased a lot of things. Like, we don't know a ton about what we're getting because it's Marvel, and they like to just keep it all a secret and then drop it all at once on Netflix. But we do know we're getting a lot more of Jessica Jones' origin story and possibly how exactly she got those powers, what happened in that IGH lab experimentation. But what I'm really excited about is the possibility that we're going to get Trish as Hellcat.
I am so pumped for this because Hellcat is a character that I, as a non-Marvel comic book fan, did not know much about, and she sounds incredibly badass.
Yeah, so she basically is, she's like this martial arts expert, which we saw Trish using Krav Maga in season 1. So she definitely has that down. But Hellcat also has some abilities. She can make force fields. She's got a little bit of psychic ability. Are they going to get that? Are they going to explore that? Is she going to get that somehow when they go into this IGH lab thing? Or maybe they don't. Maybe she just is like this kick-ass lady and takes on the moniker of Hellcat, because we did see that she wanted Jessica Jones to become a superhero, wear the costume, kind of alluding to Jewel.
Costume.
Yeah, she brought up the Jewel costume. So maybe Trish is just really kick-ass and then decides that she wants to also be a superhero, because she says Jessica Jones needs a sidekick.
But we do know that in season 2, Killgrave will be returning in some capacity.
Yeah, I have to wonder about this, because they do show him, kind of
clapping. There have been photos that have been released of David Tennant back in season 2, but we have no idea as to what capacity that's going to be. I personally think it's going to be some kind of traumatic visions, PTSD.
I think possibly it'll probably be like the Dexter's dad thing the whole time, where he kind of keeps showing up and haunting her. Except, kind of haunting her throughout the show, and maybe possibly keep coming back in that form. I don't know if he's alive. I mean, she snapped his neck, but it is...
Because this time we actually saw her kill him.
We saw this.
We saw it. But
it's Marvel, so you never know. But if he isn't back, this makes me wonder who the villain is of season 2, because we don't really know.
We really don't know it.
I don't know how you top Killgrave.
I really don't know how you top Killgrave, but we're going to be there every step of the way trying to figure out.
And then we have this other character, Price Chang, I believe his name is, and he comes in and he's like her rival and wants to buy her agency. And but I don't know this guy is not a character that we've seen in the comics.
No.
So it could go throughout the whole show, and at the end he's like, I'm Tony Stark. Obviously he's not, but like he could like maybe be like, they used to call me another name, and then like drop some superhero or villain name or whatever.
Exactly.
But as of now, he's no one we've met before.
All I know is that I'm so excited because I feel like Jessica Jones is the most rooted in normal life.
Agreed.
Her characters are not like Iron Fist, where they were acquired by some monks up in a mountain. It seems to be a lot more rooted into normal things. We will be getting, I can reveal that we will be getting to meet a few more gifted characters. But they're also not necessarily going to be something that would be too far-fetched for any Jessica Jones fan to process. So that's the great thing about it.
And I think it's worth mentioning, too, this season drops on Women's Day, and every single episode is directed by a woman.
Yes, it is, and I think that is the coolest thing.
That is so awesome and so cool and so important. I'm very excited about that.
And I want to say, I think this is the very first TV series to have an entire season of shows directed solely by women, which is so revolutionary.
Absolutely. Gosh.
Jessica Jones making us so proud.
Making us so proud.
So proud to be women.
Still ladies' night? Make it a double.
And that does it. That's everything that you guys needed to remember from season 1, plus a little taste of season 2.
Oh my gosh, we are going to be breaking down and recapping everything about season 2, so you guys got to keep checking back with us.
We are going to be telling you all of our favorite double shots and hangovers.
We'll tell you what we didn't like. We're not afraid.
Exactly. So once you guys come back up for air after your Netflix binge sesh, come back and check with us. We're going to be chatting about all of our favorite Jessica Jones moments on Twitter.
Yeah,
and
tweet
then,
us.
Yeah, tweet us, like, comment, subscribe, all that great stuff, and we'll see you next time. Bye, guys.